All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Laughing because Sam Smith, who always gets on us for being late, with the line of the day to start the show. Usually I would give Barr and Lovell hell for being late, but who cares?
Who cares?
Um,
Sam's done.
Sam's not too high on his Tennessee Vols right now. We'll see where they wound up in the composite power rankings this week. Probably not at 16 like Sam would prefer. I think Elijah may have mentioned 16 as well. It's not going to happen, guys. They're not going to be at 16.
Sam actually put the Vols at 19. I don't
Oh,
know if
did
you
he?
saw
Okay.
his admission.
I did
Yeah,
not
put
see
a
it.
few, added a few teams into the
Okay.
league to bump
All
the
right.
Vols back even more.
Okay. Well, that seems perfectly legit and makes our power rankings just a real credible resource for anyone out there. No. But yes, our members' MVPs did get the vote
Yep.
on the composite ranking. We submitted our votes, of course, staff votes, all that good stuff. So we'll see where it wound up. I have no idea, except for number one, which I said I declared Max on Saturday. If anyone voted anyone other than the true number one team at number one, we're revoking their credentials to vote. So we'll get to that.
We will get to that. It may be clear who number one is. It may even be clear who number two is. But after that, this thing is as as cloudy, as hard to separate as it gets. Honestly, three through nine, I think, is pretty close. But let's waste no time here, Blake. Let's get into number 16 here. Number 16, I feel bad for this team. I don't believe they're. I think they're better than dead last in the league, but it was a rough week. I will not lie for the Gamecocks and Lamont Paris, who had a great showing on Saturday, but it was that Wednesday game, that 108-74 road loss. I mean, hey, tough week for Lamont Paris and the Gamecocks. Double road week, two straight road games, coming off of the close home loss to Georgia last Saturday by only 5 points. They go to Arkansas, to Auburn, two of the toughest places to play in the league, and go 0-2 this past week here, Blake.
Yeah, like we said on Saturday, I think kind of game of the year type feel for South Carolina on Tuesday against Oklahoma tomorrow. Because like if you want to have any sort of positive momentum, you got to win that game, and I think that's just kind of what it comes down to at this point when you're 1-4. Like we've said, they've been close on several occasions. Not so much at the Arkansas game, but that was kind of the outlier. So yeah, if they can find a way to beat Oklahoma at A&M on Saturday is going to be tough. Then you got Florida and LSU next week. So you're just trying to find anything to sort of build on here. And I mean, their remaining schedule is pretty rough when you just look at kind of the way it sets up. So got to beat Oklahoma tomorrow for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, we've got that one circled as kind of the sneaky one of the midweek. Important game for both of those teams because the loser will probably have this spot next week as Oklahoma has dropped down to 15 in the power rankings. It hurts my heart as I was confident in this team in the preseason, but 4 straight losses is you gotta go with the product on the court. And hey, a 2-point game against Alabama at home. Covered the spread, but you got to win games. Blake, you got to win games, and they haven't done that since January 3rd to open up conference play. 0-4 stretch here for the Sooners, coming at a tough time here.
Yeah, and I think again we've said it. Oklahoma fans just not exactly thrilled with that. Remember they started 0-4 in SEC play last year, 1-4 now, and you're putting yourself behind to where you're just having to try to figure out how to claw your way back into it. So that's the frustrating part. Yeah, they had what 4-game losing streak last year, a 5-game losing streak in SEC play when they were 3-10 at one point. So this is not the start you want, just based on again kind of the thinking of how things unfolded season ago. Now back-to-back road games, 9 of their 11 wins still quad 3, quad 4. They are 2-7 between the first 2 quads right now. So don't really have a resume at this point, and they're going to have to do a lot of work to pick up some ground here. So we'll see. I mean, look, they have 2 winnable road games this week.
They do.
Against South Carolina, Missouri, that they can win both of those, but right now I don't think you're banking on that necessarily based on recent play.
Sam advocating for different coaching hires in the chat make me laugh. And also I want to say though, Blake, these are still two tough teams here. South Carolina, Oklahoma. Oklahoma was up by 6 points on Alabama with under 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this game. And then LeBaron Philon happened with 4 minutes to go. But, I mean, they're 15 in our power rankings. You go play at Oklahoma, probably going to be a tight game. They just gave Alabama a run for the money. In South Carolina, just hung in there in the jungle for a full 40 minutes. That was a pretty good game all the way through. Never really held the lead and never really challenged Auburn late there. Auburn got out to an 11-point lead, but still 15 and 16 in our power rankings, Blake, two tough teams still.
Speaking of Alabama, LeBaron Philon, Micah with $5 super chat here jumps in to say Philon is the SEC Player of the Year far and away from anybody. Now, Micah, we appreciate the $5 super chat. Far and away, I think, is a little bit of a strong wording there when you got Tommy H playing in this league. But, no, he's been fantastic. And right now, Philon would be the SEC Player of the Year.
I think so. It's changing by the week, though. Like a week and a half ago, I would have said Tyler Tanner. Right. And at some point this season, I would have also said Tommy H. So,
yep.
It's
Sakoff, Keyshawn Hall, like all these guys have pretty stellar profiles, but
it's going to be a great
Philon
race.
would be it today. He would be.
Yes. All right. Speaking of losing streaks, this team is streaking in the wrong direction after they seem to be figuring things out. Mississippi State and Chris Jans have dropped 3 in a row, and this week was a big one as they had 2 straight home games at the Hump. They hosted Alabama on Tuesday. That one was never really a game, 15-point win for the Tide. And then bouncing back on Saturday in the Egg Bowl of basketball, 1-point loss on Saturday to Ole Miss. And that's now 3 in a row dropped for Mississippi State. They had climbed all the way up after that win streak through mid-December to the first 2 games of SEC play. They had climbed their way up to 65th in the analytics, back down to 82nd now on this 3-game skid here, Blake.
Yeah, not a surprise. I think the difference between them and what I assume is going to be the number 13 team is that some of these games just have not been close for Mississippi State. Like we said, the one in Kentucky, the one against Alabama, and yeah, just doesn't seem like, that's a brutal game to lose against your rival. The way that game played out with Ole Miss, and all that. So yeah, I think that's just, I don't know, man. I think again that obviously we're talking beyond NCAA tournament and all that, but it's just sort of, the inconsistencies kind of back a little bit. And, yeah, we thought they had kind of changed that, but I don't know. And, tough week, not even just a tough week of games. Like I mentioned earlier, kind of looking at stretches of games, like we're going to get to Auburn in a minute. Auburn's got a brutal stretch over the next 3 weeks. But if you look at Mississippi State's, at A&M, home against Vanderbilt, at LSU, at Missouri, home against Arkansas, home against Tennessee, then at Ole Miss, then home against Auburn. That's the next month of play for Mississippi State. So,
yeah.
Woo.
A lot of opportunity there, though. A lot of opportunity.
By the way, speaking of opportunity, Max, a little side note here. The NFL coaching carousel has absolutely gone mad. Like, Sam's bringing up the Titans here. They're going to hire either Matt Nagy or Robert Saleh. I know which one I prefer, that group. Sean McDermott's getting fired this morning. What's going
team's
on?
Not looking for a head coach, Blake?
That's your New England Patriots, who are about to be a win over Jarrett Stidham away from the Super Bowl.
Don't worry.
Can you imagine?
They're going to lose. They're going to lose.
Jarrett Stidham stopping you from your Super Bowl dreams. That's all he's thinking about right now.
Can I imagine? It's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Pats are losing next week. Okay, we're getting off track. Okay, Blake, you had mentioned that some similarities to another team here, and hey, this is a team at 13 that grabbed a win that could have saved the season. We didn't emphasize it as that on the reaction, but LSU coming in here at number 13 is going to have the committee in a little bit of a pickle because the analytics on LSU on this 4-game skid that LSU went on to start SEC play. 3-point loss to A&M, 10-point loss to South Carolina, 11 points to Vandy, 1 point to Kentucky. Like that 10-point loss to South Carolina is going to ding you a bit, but nothing really crazy there. 30-point defeat or anything where the analytics are crushing LSU. And then the committee's going to have to factor in Dean Thomas being out. Grabbing a home win against Missouri should have Thomas back this week. If not this week, next week. Should be back here in January. LSU now kind of a wild card team.
Yeah, if you want to know why, I think, and look, I'm not the biggest fan of the net. We always say, well, we do bring it up just because it is obviously a significant tool that is used in choosing the NCAA tournament field. The gap that exists between LSU and a lot of these other teams that we talked about in this range is very significant. Like, they are at 49 in the net. You want to see some comparisons? Missouri's at 66, Oklahoma's 68, Ole Miss 79, South Carolina's 92, Mississippi State's 95. So in our power rankings, LSU is 13, Mississippi State is 14. They are separated by, 46 points in the net. Like 46 spots difference. So if you factor in the Thomas injury, which will be considered by the committee, if LSU, I think, can just simply do enough to try to get to 500 in SEC play, maybe 8 and 10, depending on who the wins and losses are against, I think they're going to be fine. But you're 1 and 4, and you still got work to do. You still got to get there. But I think for now, what's really important this week for LSU, because listen, they're going to be underdogs at Florida and at Arkansas. But what's really important is that they don't go out and get beat by 25 in each of these games. Yep. And because, like we said, how you win and how you lose matters. Lying if we told you otherwise. But after that, they do start to have some opportunities open up in their schedule, the way it balances out. So, yeah, just be competitive this week. Or win. If you win, that's even better. But if you lose, be competitive, because that'll help you kind of stay in that range you need to be in, even if you're looking at 1 and 6, heading into what I think is a stretch where they can start kind of picking up quite a few wins.
I'm going to call kind of 13, maybe all the way up until 10. Maybe just 13, 12, and 11 here, but you could maybe put in the team that we're going to have at 10. It's kind of the land of opportunity here in the SEC. Teams that are not, maybe their tournament pictures are fluctuating a little bit, but teams that just could, in 1 week, could jump up into the top 10 of these power rankings or fall back to 16th, honestly. They're kind of the teams that can go, the wild card teams, if you will, and a team that has been tough to pin down, but seems to be finding their way. The Rebels of Ole Miss have won 3 in a row. They picked up a home win against Missouri last Saturday. They follow that up going into a double road week. They've got at Georgia and at Mississippi State this past week. Grab the overtime win on the Patton Pinkins put back against Georgia. Big win there. Win of the season so far, to be honest. And then follow that up with a 1-point win at the Hump. Hey, 2-0 by a margin of 3 total points. You'll take that. If you're Chris Beard and the Rebels, winning games.
Yeah, absolutely. Based on where they were at the 1st of January, of course, they are playing really well right now. And like I said, you can probably still pick apart some things, but who cares? They're winning. Like, how many other teams would just be like, hey, let's just ride a 3-game winning streak right now? You're feeling pretty good about that.
Yep.
And I mentioned schedule-wise, they've got a pretty tough stretch coming up too. I didn't realize this until I looked at it. But in this next 6 games, they have home games against Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Alabama, road games at Kentucky, Tennessee, and Texas. So quite a stretch coming up for the Rebels here. So this was very important to get things turned around, because now you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. But like I said, they are still at 79 in the net, but they're starting to gain some momentum, and they're starting to make some significant moves. They've moved up quite a bit. Remember, at one point we were talking about them in the 100s not that long ago. So they are making up some ground here, and a team that finally feels like it's kind of shaken that identity, which was that they just didn't seem to have an identity. They didn't really seem to have anything to lean on other than just sort of the inconsistency. So Yep, Ole Miss heading in the right direction, and what a game that sets up for tomorrow against Auburn. So
In the first 13 games of the season for Ole Miss, AJ Storr attempted double-digit two-pointers only one time. In SEC play, he's done it 4 times. There's been a switch that has flipped with AJ Storr, and he's become that scorer that Ole Miss was missing earlier in the season. So I got a little bit of momentum going here with AJ Storr.
you guys in the chat are cracking me up. You're telling me certain teams should be in this spot, or you're telling me that a certain team should be next. I'm not sure you're watching some of these teams if you think that Texas A&M and Kentucky should be this far down right now, folks. Come on now. These two teams aren't playing too bad. All right.
One team that is up and down here, home and away splits are quite stark with this team, the Missouri Tigers. They had a up and down week. They're coming off of a Saturday game last week on the road against Ole Miss, and they dropped that game by 7 points. They respond on Wednesday with a 10-point win against Auburn. Missouri shoots 47% from 3. Trent Pierce says, "Give me the ball." But then they follow that up with a tough, kind of a head scratcher a little bit on the road against an LSU team that picks up their first win in a few weeks. So Missouri up and down, Blake.
Interesting. It looks like apparently I was the high man on Missouri, but I think, listen, we talk about like where these teams are at. Dude, you're not getting any argument when it comes to this range of teams from me in any order, because tell me what some of these teams have done to separate themselves from the rest of this group, right? Again, you said it. All right, hey, Missouri came out and beat Florida and Kentucky. That's great, and we can parade around the idea that Missouri's got the win over Florida, and that's wonderful because we know where Florida's going to be in this week's rankings. But now they've also lost games at Ole Miss and LSU. And so it's like, how can I separate them with any confidence from these other teams in this mix? So, like I said, I know like things got feisty here in the power rankings a couple weeks ago when things were still very close together. But like, it still is. Like, there's just not a lot of separation. And all these teams have given us a reason to doubt them in this range. And so we can, again, have the confidence of this team should be here, this team should be there, but you're not going to get much pushback from me right now because I thought that was a game that Missouri needed to go in and win on Saturday. They didn't. And so take what they did on Wednesday against Auburn. Now, you kind of struggle to find any success on the road these past 2 games. And so, yeah, you're going to slide down a little bit. So I'm not shocked. 2 home games this week, though.
Yep, I was just going to mention that. Bounce back week setting up nice here for Missouri. If they can get Anthony Robinson playing like Anthony Robinson of last year, a little bit of a weird week with him kind of getting benched there. Not benched, but, I mean, I don't know. He barely played the second half there against LSU. So we'll have to follow that Ant Robinson development there. All right, this team also up a little bit less up and down, a little bit more consistent here as of late for the Longhorns of Texas. They had the great Saturday win on the road against Alabama, and they follow that up with the 16-point win against Vanderbilt. Huge win. Best 2 wins of the season for Texas, comes in back-to-back games. But then on Saturday, the Aggies go into the Moody Center and grab a road win there, just knocking Texas back a little bit, but not too much here. Texas at 40th in KenPom. Tough team to play, Blake.
Yeah, listen, full disclosure, I don't know what the hell I was doing on my rankings. Like, clip that, because why did I have Texas where I had them? I have no idea. I should have had them ahead of Missouri, and I think I had the order swapped. Because, I mean, look, Texas lost by 4 to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So I may have been looking at the wrong numbers on that somewhere. So, but they still wind up ahead of them here, and yeah, I don't have a lot of pushback on Texas coming off a loss, because why would I? I mean, A&M is still going to be several spots higher here at the very least. So Texas is playing well, and at this point, they're just not a team I'd want to see. So yeah, that game on Wednesday at Kentucky is going to be a lot of fun, I think, between those two. And then, 3 of their next 4 on the road, actually, for the Longhorns. So, but I tell you, like, we talked about that toughness of their schedule. If they can navigate these next couple games, dude, they've got a lot of opportunity in there. Because that's where you do start to have a stretch of games where you're playing Oklahoma, South Carolina, teams like that. Teams that we've already seen. Think about this: Oklahoma, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU. That's a 5-game stretch for Texas, and we've already seen all those teams in our rankings this week, right? So, interesting.
Texas at a 49.1% chance to make the NCAA tournament, 41st in the net right now. So, come on, Longhorns, get us another team. Get us another team into the tournament. All right, Blake. From 9 to 4, it is a mess.
This has got to be
an
Auburn,
absolute
right?
mess. On a neutral floor, picking any game, any matchup of any of these 6 teams ranked 9 to 4, I'm going to have zero confidence in picking that game on a neutral floor. This is a scrunched up middle of the league here. Number 9, little bit of pushback on this from me, but not after the week that they just had. I think it's going to be a right spot here at number 9 for Auburn.
I don't think so.
You don't agree with this?
I said I don't think there should be a lot of pushback.
No.
Like you said, the week they just had. Yeah, I don't.
The week they just had, man, 10-point loss on the road against Missouri, and then you follow it up with a 4-point ugly one. Maybe the ugliest offensive performance of the season. Stephen Pearl wasn't happy at home against South Carolina as a 12.5-point favorite, I believe. So coming off of that big Saturday game last week, Auburn kind of stumbles this past week.
No, I mean, think about the 3 teams we just talked about: Auburn, Texas, and Missouri. Like, I mean, Missouri beat Auburn. Texas, is kind of sandwiched in the middle, but Auburn is now, again, lost at Missouri by 10. They were 0-2 to start league play. I know the Texas A&M game. We can keep going on that if we want, but it is what it is at this point. And then, didn't play necessarily great against South Carolina. So
nope.
I don't. The results are just right there in front of us. What else do we say? These are just teams that have been so up and down. And listen, if I was a Texas fan, I wouldn't push back on the idea that they should be ahead of both these teams, Auburn and Missouri. But again, we're splitting hairs here at this point. Every team is given it because Texas had the losses to, the 2 before that, to Mississippi State at home and then lost to Tennessee. So, hey, we're talking about the land of 2-3 and 3-2 teams here.
Yep.
And again, there's no one that is, proving to be elite in this range just yet, just because they're having issues with, various areas, and that's kind of holding them back from being up there at the top. So,
well, you mentioned them. We might as well loop them in. At number 8 here, I believe this is their lowest ranking of the season, is Tennessee. And if you wanted to rank them a spot lower, they're 2-3 in their last 5. The offense is really struggling, and when you filter the data for only conference games, Tennessee's defensive efficiency in the SEC's 9th. It's not this elite defense of years past that can hold hold teams down if the offense is struggling. I think it was Rick Barnes himself who came out and said Ja'Kai Ziegler and Jemai Mashack don't lose that game on Saturday. Hey. What else? What else do we have to say if Rick Barnes is going all the way to that point? The defense isn't there, and they're in a double OT game against Texas A&M at home from being in real trouble.
I think I had Tennessee ahead of Georgia, but is there a real reason to just be 100% all in on that? No. No. It's just not, right? And so I think, with Tennessee, we've said it. It's just kind of you want to talk about up and down, they are the ultimate up and down team. They are 2-3, win, lose, win, lose, win. Lose, win, lose, win, lose. That's how it's gone for Tennessee in SEC play. Now, they've played a tough schedule. I want to give them that, too. And it's not going to get any easier this week. We'll be able to separate the Tennessee-Georgia dilemma after, they get the midweek off. So next week, they go to Georgia next Tuesday. That's right. But they're at Alabama on Saturday. So, again, there will be some separation for Tennessee, but I don't, like I said, guys, I'm not going to sit here and rail on any of these orders, and with these teams right here, who knows?
And it's such a hard team to judge too. Like if we're just judging the first half against the Cats, I mean, this team looks great. I mean, they're crushing the glass. Jacoby Gillespie's hitting his shots. Nate Ament's being a little bit more aggressive. Well, in the next 20 minutes, it's what the heck's going on here? So, I mean, who knows? And speaking of the Cats come in here at number 7, right next to the Vols and the Cats. They did lose Jalen Lowe, Jaden Quaintance. I know we had some chats asking us about Quaintance and is he going to play this year? I have no clue. I do not have the answers to these questions, but what I do know is that the Cats have won 3 games in a row, and that's all that matters right now. Hey, who won 3 games in a row? Ole Miss. How many teams can say that they've won 3 games in a row right now, and 2 of those games were on the road? Kentucky has 7, Blake.
I would push back on this a little bit, slightly.
In what way?
Think I would put I would put them ahead of Georgia right now.
Okay.
Now I know Georgia's coming. Don't get me wrong. I know Georgia's coming off the 14-point. Completely understand that Georgia's coming off the 14-point win. Understood. But again, it's like you're kind of comparing a little bit, and I'm not going to give you a lot of pushback. I think I did have Kentucky ahead of Georgia because I mentioned kind of the order of these teams in here. But they had the home loss. That's the thing. It's like they lost at home to Ole Miss, and so I'm just like, what do I do? Like, how do I balance out the Arkansas and Ole Miss? Like, so, and that of course talking about Georgia. So, whatever. Again, guys, I'm not going to sit here and waste our time. We're talking about still teams that I think have a lot to prove, both Kentucky and Georgia.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, the Cats, probably are. They're a couple plays away from sitting here at 1-4 right now. So also could say that. So it's just like, I don't know, but yeah, Kentucky has figured it out. They got a little mojo on their side, got a little momentum. So look out with the Cats coming up with 2 home games this week against Texas and Ole Miss. Kentucky fans are like, can we just get some consistent performances at home at this point? That's all we're looking for. So, yeah, but I would have Kentucky higher than Georgia. I don't know. And I know, like I said, I'm not knocking Georgia. They just beat Arkansas by 14, but they did lose in the midweek as well to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I had Georgia a spot ahead Kentucky, but I have absolutely zero pushback for it being flipped. It's kind of just, I don't even really have a definitive reason why. Just kind of the eye test there for the Cats going down by so much. It's just a hard team to trust. But I mean, Georgia, they probably have the hardest week to grade in the league, dropping a home game as when you were a nice favorite against Ole Miss. But then you turn around and play a great game. Blue Cane gets going and you beat the Hogs by 14 and put up 90 again. It's like, well, okay, those are 2 pretty contrasting results there.
Here's the thing, Max. If you played a game between Kentucky and Georgia right now, here's what I'd do. I'd take Georgia minus whatever in the first half, and I'd take Kentucky minus whatever in the second half. Yeah. That's exactly how I would play it. So you got to tell me which half we're talking about with these 2 teams, and I'm going to probably swap it out. So, yeah.
Yeah, just I mean, hey, with both of these teams, with Kentucky and Georgia, just get a little bit of consistency there, and you can move up a few spots.
A great comment by Clayton. Like, the Cats beat the Longhorns and the Rebels handily this week, but who on earth knows, though, right? Like, who knows? Maybe they do. Who knows, man? By the way, he did have a $5 super chat, too, on the Cats here real quick. What are your thoughts on JQ coming back at some point this season?
I have no clue, man.
No idea.
I feel like he will. I don't think it's because I know isn't JQ getting some accusations of like, oh, the knee swelling.
I would ask the question of why wouldn't he, but I know what that's going to lead to. Like, why wouldn't he come back?
I think he's actually dealing with some knee swelling. I don't think he's lying.
Unless it's just an injury type situation. So I can't tell you with any certainty on that question. And again, I know everyone has different comments on that, or different thoughts on what they think's going on there, but I don't know. So
I know there was some stuff with his father complaining on social media, I believe, but
someone complained on social media. Are you kidding me right now?
Say, that's just such a mess. I'm not even gonna try to comment on it.
Oh gosh, should we go write
all
an
right.
article on Twitter this morning? Oh,
All right.
boy.
Speaking of being a mess and just up and down and not being able to know what you're gonna get, win loss is the last four for the Hogs. They go to Ole Miss last Wednesday and grab a road win, but then follow that up on Saturday with a 22-point loss in the Jungle, and then bounce back with an incredible performance at home against South Carolina. The assist to turnover ratio was as good as I've ever seen it. Acuff had dished out 13 assists, not a single turnover. It was insane. But then you walk into the Steg, and Georgia beat you by 14. Up and down week for the Hogs here, Blake. Tough team to pin down again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm looking at. Yeah, I think I had him a spot higher, but I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Like, how am I supposed to either argue for or against when it comes to just that? But like, there also comes a certain point. I know it's like there's a comment here that Arkansas can't win on the road, so they're too high. But I mean, the trend of winning on the road right now has been pretty up and down in the SEC. I would say. I'm looking at it now. Home win percentage, let's see, 57.5%, a little bit lower than probably it has been at certain points, maybe in the past several years at this point in the season. At 17th in the country, according to KenPom, in terms of like home win percentage in the SEC. So yeah, I think it's one of those where, we said too, Arkansas has been a product of the ultimate like anti-spot team. They just keep playing all these teams that feel desperate. And, Ole Miss was in that spot. They won that one. They held on. Then they had to go to Auburn. Auburn had to have that one. They got it. And then you go to Georgia after the midweek loss to Ole Miss, and you're like, well, Georgia's got a great spot for Georgia. And so, I don't know. I think Arkansas's got a chance this week, obviously, to get a little bit of positive momentum back. 2 home games, Vanderbilt and LSU. We're going to make our live predictions for that coming up right after this, and our SEC predictions live for our MVPs and legends. But yes, anyone I think who's arguing that Arkansas, should be here or there, it's just they've given us mixed results here over the past 2 weeks. So,
yeah, I mentioned it in the reaction. I'll mention it once more. That 2-point percentage defense, dead last in the SEC right now, allowing about 60% from inside. I think, Cal's got to challenge the bigs, challenge that interior defense. And if they just tighten that up a little bit, I'm liking Arkansas. But here's the thing with this week's power rankings. Whoever was at 5 was going to get disagreed with. Because if you don't have Arkansas here, okay, well, let's say Georgia. Well, Georgia just lost at home to Ole Miss on Wednesday. And, that's a tough team to put at 5. All right, Kentucky was down, what's the point total that they've been down in the first half in every road game? Like 16 points or something?
12,
the eye test.
16, 17, yeah.
It's been up and down for the Cats. They're a Colin Chandler miracle throw away from losing that Wednesday game against LSU. How are you going to put them at 5? Tennessee's not looked like a top 5 team. Auburn's not whoever was going to be here at 5 was going to get some pushback here. This was just the way the rankings fell this week. It was a tough ranking to do here. But
quickly, $10 super chat from Corey. Says JQ was sat by Pops. Happy Monday, guys. Well, Corey.
Yep.
There you
go. So who knows how that turns out.
All right. I have no idea what order these next 3 are going to be in, maybe. Although I think I know what. I think I would have a little bit of pushback if it's not the order I think, but
I think you have a good idea. But did we want to get right into them?
Just do a little suspense before we get to the top 4. Of course we do, because that's what we do here. And Collar, our fine sponsors, are thinking this is a great time for you guys to do a little read on us. And we were thinking, you know what? We agree. Oh, and Collar, performance menswear brand polos, button-ups, quarter zips, pants. Pants! You got to have pants. You know how cold it is in the garage right now? One of the coldest days of the year. It's only going to get colder. Yeah. It's a good thing I got pants, Max, from Ann Collar. Stretchy, affordable, make you look good.
Yep.
No one really cares how I look. I'm not showing my pants on air here, but
Well,
they invented the Workleisure. If I needed to stand up, I could, and I could show you my pants. Stain resistance, comfort, lightweight, plus you don't need an iron or a dry cleaner because it's wrinkle resistant and machine washable. The price is great, and it can be even better. SEC 16 SEC 16 for 16% off. See what they did there? SEC 16 for 16% off. Over and collar. Winter is here, Brian. That is true. Winter is here. It's never winter at Ann Collar because they keep you warm all the time. If you're just sitting around, you're thinking, hey, I need to warm up a little bit. What should I wear? Just go buy a suit and literally just sit around in a suit.
yeah.
And you'll be very warm. SEC 16 over at Ann Collar. ANDcollar.com. And don't forget about our friends at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. The world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock secure mounting, SEC 25 for 25% off. All the cases, the accessories, they got it all over there. They don't sell pants, but if they did, they would be protecting you from anything and everything. Over at ROKFORM, SEC 25, 25% off, ROKFORM.com. All right. To the top four we go. Look at this. Look at this incredible efficiency. We're 36 minutes in here. We're going to do, hold on, before we continue, we're about to, after we finish this, and we're going to probably be out of here in less than 10 minutes, we're going to head over and do our SEC predictions live for Tuesday. Remember, if you want to sit in on our predictions, join us live, give your scores, all that kind of stuff, you can by being an MVP or a legend. If you're a supporter, upgrade that membership to only $2 more to the MVP. You get to sit in on our bonus content each week. Yes, all that coming up right after this for MVPs and Legends. 5 games on Tuesday slate. Got a big one with Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Many more games as well. So sign on up right now. Look at Micah. He said, you know what? I'm in.
Bang.
I'm sold. I heard about the pants, and I'm in. I'm in. All right. Here we go. Number 4.
All right. Number 4. Highest ranking of the season. 4. Buckyball, baby. Get in on the Aggies. Aggies coming off of a week where they went on a road trip both times to Tennessee. Double OT game. That was a thriller. Had every chance to win that one, did the Aggies. And then they follow that up as, what were they, a 5.5 point underdog heading to the Moody Center, I believe, and control that one, honestly. Playing really good basketball is Texas A&M. Best player, Kenzie Mbako, is out for the season, and it has not mattered as the Aggies have a share of the league lead right now, 4-1.
Micah joins up a tier, and then the first thing he types out in all caps, frauds on the Aggies.
Only frauds.
Come on, Micah. I'm not sure about that. They are a double overtime win away from being unbeaten right now and on a, 8-game winning streak. Yeah, I mean, we said it. I know the Auburn finish was controversial and all that stuff, but at a certain point, like, a team just keeps finding ways to win. And if you do want to play like the analytical, this is where I think A&M's like the ultimate analytics team to track, because you look at where they are, like, in the net. They're 42 in the net, okay? So they're behind Florida, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, Auburn, Texas. And the reason why is you look at kind of the results, right? Win by 3, win by 2 on the road, win by 7, lose by 5 in double overtime, win by 4 on the road. Like, there's a lot of those kind of play this out 100 times. The record could be anywhere from 1-4 to 3-2 to what it is now. And that's all that matters. They're 4-1. So, like, yeah, they're 4-1. And guess what? I would be surprised, maybe even Max Barr stunned, if they're not 6-1. Because they host Mississippi State and South Carolina this week, 2 of the bottom 3 teams in our rankings this week, and it's the SEC this year. You're not going to say anything's a guaranteed win, but sets up very nicely for A&M to keep this thing going before things really start to pick up a bit after that. At Georgia, at Alabama, home against Florida, home against Missouri, at Vanderbilt is their next 5 after these 2 home games. Ooh, going to be interesting.
Yep. The Aggies, tough team to play. They kind of play that. It's going to be a tough team to prep for the Aggies. It's going to be a big contrast to most. Maybe Georgia plays pretty similar to the Aggies, but it's always tough going from like a Tennessee, a South Carolina, and then having to play buckyball. Is big contrast in the way the Aggies are playing, catching some teams off guard.
This top 3 is about as easy as it gets, right?
Yep. This should be pretty. No surprises here, as we've got the Tide of Alabama coming in at number 3. They had a double road week. They went to the Hump and won easily 97-82. And then Phylon comes through in the last 5 minutes to push the Tide over the Sooners. 2 games in a row, 2 road games, tied here at 3.
Yep. Tied here at 3. Still unknowns with who's going to play and when they're going to play and all that. And, that makes it a little tricky with Alabama game in and game out. But, I said it. I think at the full strength, Alabama could be the best team in the SEC. I don't know if that'll ever kind of happen. But, yeah, that's just kind of where we're at. So, yeah, nice win at Mississippi State. Was not that impressive against Oklahoma, but we said it with all the other teams. A win is a win on the road in the SEC this year. If it's by a point, you'll take it. If it's by 50 points, you'll take it. And so, yeah, Alabama Phylon. Did they Phylon the Sooners? Can we use that as a verb?
Oh, they did. They
cuffed, Hubbarded. They Phyloned them.
They definitely Phyloned them. And Alabama fans, you have a great opportunity to move up as you get 2 home games against Tennessee and Missouri. Both would be nice wins. So could put together a quick 4 in a row here before you got that Sunday game on February 1st at the Gators. Holy smokes. We could have something brewing here for a huge February 1st game. Tide. Let's get healthy.
Alabama's profile pretty good too in the net now. If you look at it, they have 8 wins combined between Quad 1 and Quad 2, which is only 1 behind the leader in the SEC. And, of course, that's Vanderbilt at 9, which I believe there was a game that probably separated that if you think about it. So, yeah, that's kind of how it looks. Alabama in pretty good shape right now. They'd be a top 4 seed in the tournament at this point. Yeah.
Yep. Alabama at 3. At number 2, no surprise here, the Commodores of Vanderbilt. They drop their first 2 games of the year. This was circled as one of the hardest weeks for Vandy of their season. They run into Vokititis and company on Wednesday in the Moody Center and drop that game. And then game of the year so far in the league on Saturday as the Gators and Xavier Lee hits the big shot late to give Florida the win there. And we can just loop them right in. The Gators, number 1 in the power rankings this week.
They may be here the rest of the year. I mean, I'm gonna call it out right now. They may be here the rest of the year. I'm not sure, folks, if it's gonna change. I know I'm a little premature. Maybe Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan go combine 0 of 18 at some point. But I'm looking at this schedule for the Gators. I don't know, man. They're gonna lose. Okay, they're gonna lose a game, probably multiple somewhere. But this team is giving me some vibes now, Max Barr. Giving me some vibes.
Yep.
So, and the Vanderbilt part of things, yeah, I'm not. It may surprise some people. Vanderbilt didn't all of a sudden just start plummeting, but why would they? I know they lost at Texas the way they did, but at the same time, they probably played Florida as well in that kind of scenario. And I know Missouri beat them, don't get me wrong, but that was kind of before Florida looked like the superhuman Florida of last year at times. They're right there with a chance to win the game. So, yeah, I didn't think it was enough to knock them. So this was the order I had here in Florida, the definitive number 1. There was no debate. So,
No Frankie Collins still for Vanderbilt. That's got to be
Yep.
taken into consideration, just given the lack of backcourt depth without Frankie. He should be back soon for the Commodores, but make no mistake about it, guys. The Gators are the team to beat. They're the cream of the crop in the league. They're the highest analytical team in the league on all the analytics sites. Still not making threes, but don't need to because everything else is as elite as it gets right now. And you're even starting to get those questions answered about the depth with the way that Isaiah Brown has been playing off the bench lately. He's played double-digit minutes in every SEC game. So you're getting a little bit of backcourt, production that we didn't have back in November, early December. So, yeah. Not coming away with anything too negative about Vanderbilt other than just what we already knew kind of about their foul tendencies and lack of size, but I was impressed with Jalen Washington's response against the Gators. That backcourt, though, will take Vanderbilt as far as they want to go. But, yeah, Florida, team to beat.
Yeah, I don't think people realize necessarily, maybe Vanderbilt fans do just because they've watched all their games, but I don't think people on the outside realize how huge the Frankie Collins effect is right now. Especially, we mentioned in the final kind of possessions there that Vanderbilt had against Florida, had a couple just bad possessions offensively, just because they didn't have that extra guard on there after Duke Miles fouled out.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's going to be a big one. But for Florida, if the guards keep playing well, I don't know who's going to beat them. Somebody will, but they're going to be one of the national title contenders easily. And speaking of, let's give you a quick update at FanDuel. SEC regular season winner. Hope you got the Florida plus 700 a couple weeks ago, or maybe 3 games ago, and we said you better get it now. Minus 195 to win the SEC are the Florida Gators. They have really separated themselves. Vanderbilt plus 500. Look at the gap there now. Alabama plus 700, Arkansas plus 1,900, Kentucky plus 2,200, and that's about it. If you want A&M, if you're thinking A&M is going to stay in this thing, right now you're getting A&M plus 3,000. So take the shot on A&M, bet responsibly. They're 4-1, not bad odds for a team that's 4-1 in the SEC right now. So, but yeah. Anyways, all right. Micah, $5 super chat. Florida winning the SEC, but the Bama backcourt takes them the deepest in March. Listen, I've pushed that before too. I still think upside. Alabama has Final Four potential. But man,
Gonna be a matchup thing with Alabama. Gonna be a path and matchup thing with them for me, because they definitely have there's a type of team that they struggle with. I mean, Arizona, Zags, and Purdue all play very similarly through their bigs and whatnot. So it'll be a path thing for me with the Tide.
It's a matchup-based tournament.
Yep.
That's the thing, is who do you get? And same goes for Florida. They get a backcourt that overwhelms, those guys, and all of a sudden, who knows? All bets are off. By the way, Elliot's comment here, asking to crown Ruben into Tommy H's royal family. So we've got to come up with something for Big Ruben here to get him into the royal family with Sir Thomas Houck. So
I don't know if I like that.
Could be King Ruben. I mean, King Chin.
Tommy H sits upon the throne. Cannot have another king.
You know what? Ruben this year, he may deserve a little, maybe to knight him this year. So
if we didn't even add Walter Clayton into the royal family, we can't. I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's Ruben we're talking about here. So I'll come up with a good name for him. Don't worry. So, all right. We're out of here. Remember, I put the link in there. I'm going to drop one more time.
Yes.
If you want to join us live, become a member. I'm going to go ahead and drop, let's see, I think I can drop the actual link in there. Let me find it. To our predictions, 5 games. We're going to make our picks live. Here is the link. If you hit that button right there, it'll take you to the video. It'll say if you're not a member, you can't join. Become an MVP or legend, and you're in to sit in live on our predictions for tomorrow night's games. We're heading to do that now. We appreciate you guys watching as always. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the support. Hit the like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Not much to do there. I'm not asking you to do anything, right? Only like 7 or 8 things before you hop off the stream. But yeah, head on over there. And tomorrow we'll have our predictions live for the 2-game slate on Wednesday. Only 2 games. Incredible. So yeah, we appreciate you guys. And hop on over for the predictions live. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.